damn,
Oh,
we up.
dude.
We up. We streaming.
Oh, streaming.
We
Did you
streaming.
check to make sure it's recording correctly? All the audio hitting
We
the
about
right
to, but
places?
we about to find out right now. You know, we struggle streaming. That's what we do. That's the new thing. Um, struggle streaming is the new thing. It's all right. We gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? We gonna make it. I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby.
Did you check to make sure it's recording correctly? All the audio hitting the right places?
But we about to find out right now. You know, we struggle streaming. That's what we do.
Okay.
That's the new thing. All
Can you?
right. All right. I hear myself. I hear you. You feel
All
me?
right.
You
What
feel?
about the
What about the what? Oh, the video? Shit. We're gonna have to find out right now. Let's find
uh?
out.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and find out, Cuddy May.
For exactly that reason.
Can you hear
But
it?
this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville,
I don't
where
know yet.
there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti Semitic hate.
Oh
And
no, I
what
can't
did
hear.
the president
Oh, I can
then
hear
at
it.
the time say?
Yeah.
There were fine people on each side. Let's remember
Can you
that
hear me?
when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going
Oh, we
back.
good.
It's time
Let's
to
go ahead.
turn the
Let's
page.
listen to
And
this,
if that
this
was a
Indian
bridge
woman.
too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand
Sorry. Stop.
for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end
Hey,
the
Trump was getting all
chaos,
crazy up there.
and to
Oh
end
shit.
the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't
chat.
like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate,
Sorry.
has
Stop.
said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they
He
covered
already
it.
on her
If they
ass.
go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to
He
close
hasn't
up
put
the
together
border
a thought
because
yet.
they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in
said that.
No, I
2020?
don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically.
But
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
Wait, how do they not know what country they in?
Again, he's being sarcastic, but I'm not gonna lie, I do agree with him on that.
On what?
They are pushing out the black and bringing in the immigrants for their votes, the Democrat Party. It's everywhere. That's why they
Who,
allowing
like,
some.
how,
That's why
how
they
are they
allow
pushing
some of
out the
the,
black?
because the black vote, they just know we're gonna vote Democrat already. So there's no point in fighting for a vote that you know black people gonna already vote. So what's the next group of people that you focus on, that you target? You already did the LGBTQ plus, you did the blacks, and now it's the immigrants.
But a lot
It's,
of immigrants, and well, and I don't have numbers for this, but I feel like a lot of immigrants vote Republican.
but that's the thing though. That's what I'm saying. Like they're trying to. Here, let me see. I'm gonna pull up a window. Let me get the numbers. Why you keep checking the sound? It's good.
My sound ain't good.
I can hear you clearly.
You can hear me clearly, but when you hear me on the stream, I sound like echoey and stuff. Try something else.
Why you keep checking the sound? It's good.
My sound ain't good.
I can hear you clearly.
Let's try this. You can hear me clearly, but when you hear me on the stream, I sound like echoey and stuff. Let's see. What do I sound like now? Try something else.
Why you keep checking the sound? It's good.
My sound ain't good.
I can hear you clearly.
What are you
Let's try
pulling up?
this.
Pull up your window, dude.
Well, I was trying to get the sound going. I was trying to get the numbers. Since you know what I'm saying. Let's see here.
I think this sounds better.
Let's see here. Bipartisan Policy Center. Is that a good one?
Oh, I think Kamala has up. You were saying she didn't have up her
Policy.
policies and stuff.
She
She
got them
has
up
stuff up
now.
now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, we already here. We already here at the debate. Let's see here. I'm not able to pull up numbers, but let's play this while, unless you got something to say.
No, I ain't got nothing enlightful to say right now.
Did watch
I want
all
to
of
see
these
what the
pieces of
Northman has to
video.
say.
I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said there
They
was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's
none of
old
those facts or
news. And the
statistics
problem
yet.
that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And
I'm with-
clearly he is
clap
having
back.
a very difficult time processing that.
Clap back.
But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States. And world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did, in fact, lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think
up.
we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never
Never
started.
happened.
If
I
I were
already knew you was gonna say
president,
that.
Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She
Oh,
Hey,
refused
look
to
at
be
these
there because she
faces they
was at a
making.
sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I
hey,
believe that
hey,
Israel will not
he said she
exist
hates
within two
Israel.
years
Just
from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel. Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now
He's a
what they're
showman.
doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well
he
known
makes the same
that he
faces.
said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong un. And it is
Love
absolutely
letters.
well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and
Sheesh.
favors. And that is
He
why
going low, but by
so
going
many
high.
military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace.
Oh,
That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic
he was
ABC
trying to
News
go in.
presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia.
I
How you feeling about this?
Man, it all sound good to me. It's all fluff, all of it from both sides. I don't take
Yeah.
I don't take people think because I bash Kamala so much that they think I'm
Right.
pro Trump. That's not
Nah.
necessarily the case. Like that's not the case at all. I just I rather I rather deal with somebody I've dealt with before than get a new problem. So, and then I just don't like where the economy has been under the Democratic administration. It's really simple. It's really a simple concept. That's your problem. That's your problem. You like too much new, and then new becomes, and then new becomes the new norm. Everybody can't say that, Oscar, because there's a such thing as a middle class and a lower class, and what's going on in the economy, people like you won't have to deal with those type of issues. Right. So that's really why you should be voting red if you decided to vote. I don't know who you voting for, but d- not to pay taxes. Right. Where do taxes go? Right. Mm, right. And how and how is that doing? Right. Right. And then everything else comes. Yeah. Hold on one second. You over there practicing? How they hear me through your mic? Hold on one second. Oh yeah, you have been on mute the whole time. You been talking to yourself this whole time? Let me see. Say something.
Something? Can you hear me?
I'm about to find out. Oh yeah, you have been on mute the whole time. You been talking to yourself this whole time?
Well, they can hear me through your mic.
Let me see. Say something. All right, now we can hear you. Okay. All
What you
right.
change?
All right, we back. We bite.
You
Hold on.
change something?
Yeah, we bite. Hold on, we bite.
Have the courage to ask Europe, like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of
We be
billions of
struggle
dollars
streaming
when I
like a
said,
motherfucker.
either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left, I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up.
Oh, my God.
Just to
What did I
clarify
come
the
into?
question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interests for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine.
She's trying to come for
Understand
Trump a little bit.
why
She
the
for sure
European
is.
allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor.
Look at his face.
And what you think is
He like,
a
I
friendship
would. He like, I
with
would.
what is known to be a dictator who would
would.
eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow,
I'm
much
weak.
happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening. But he does have that, something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strong men instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's
need
ever
that.
seen done.
We
Thank
need
you.
that back.
I want
That
to
is
turn
mine.
to Afghanistan.
We
It
need
came
that
up in the
back.
first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders.
Let me know if you wanted to stop, like you guys want to say.
Former president, as president, invited them to Camp
I don't know
David
enough about
because
politics
he
to actually
does
have
not,
a,
again,
what
appreciate
is it,
the role and
a valid opinion?
responsibility
Educated
of the
people.
President of the United
Yeah,
States
educated.
to be Commander-in-Chief with a level of
I mean,
respect.
I'm more aligned
And
with
this
what
gets
you
back
said.
to
Like, it just
the
all
point of
sound like
how he
fluff.
has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military,
You know what I
fallen
mean?
soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
They
Vice President
just-
Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the
Yeah,
negotiations with
thank
the
you.
Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul
man.
is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18
He
months,
made a threat.
we had nobody
He made
killed.
a threat.
We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out
said, "Why
faster
you send
than
me a
them, but we
picture of
wouldn't
my
have lost
house?"
the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black.
You think Donald Trump and Putin planned that?
What's that?
Trump like, go ahead, go into Ukraine after y'all meet with her, so you know I can come in and say she weak and whoop 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 this and that, this and that. Like
I mean,
go to war with Ukraine, so we can show you because they're not gonna go to war with you. Just go to
right.
war with Ukraine, so you can
Uh-huh.
show how weak that their administration is. And then when I get back in the president, we just cease fire and become cool again because we boys.
I mean, I don't put it past them, right? Like that's how people operate. But I think that's interesting, right? Like, if that is what's happening, he really just put himself ahead of the country, right? Because like, if you got that much power, why aren't you doing something to help help people, right?
Sounds
Like for
good.
real, like yeah, like it's like you have no regard for life if that's really what he did. Which
I honestly
I
don't
don't
think.
put it past
I honestly don't think none of them do. I think at that level,
Yeah,
I think at that level of being a politician, I really don't think they care about um that low level of life. And I don't mean like I mean like us, everyday regular people. I
yeah,
really don't
yeah.
think
No,
they
I
care.
I agree. They care about the people uh that
That
support their campaigns and stuff. You know,
that keeps them in office basically.
office. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Do you man? They about to talk about the race.
Oh, I
I want
about
to
to
see
say, I
what they
just,
say about the black people.
you made it sound like your audio wasn't on, so I just wanted to make sure.
I'll just be
Black
checking.
until a number of years ago
It don't
when she
sound
happened
good.
to turn
I
black,
don't know how it
and now
sounds
she
to
wants
you,
to be
but
known as
whatever.
It
black.
sounds good to me.
I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
I'm
But
weak.
those were your words, so I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
That was a good answer.
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to
avoiding the
divide us, and especially by
question.
race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was
She's avoiding the
a
question.
land,
He's a
he
politician.
owned
What you
land, he
expect?
owned buildings, and he
This
was
chicken is fucking
investigated
disgusting.
because
Chipotle do better.
he refused to
Fuck.
rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution.
This is why I don't
This
like
is
her.
the same
This is why I can't
individual
vote for her.
who spread birther lies about the
it's not
first
like
black
Trump
president of the
is
United States.
that much better.
And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this.
Are you
Want
black?
someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We
That's
see in
the
each
only
other
question.
a friend. We see in each other
She
a
talking about
neighbor.
Central Park 5.
We
She
don't
talking about
want a
neighbors.
leader
This
who is
is
constantly trying
This
to
is what
have
they do.
Americans
But
point
just
their
make sure
fingers
when
at
you
each
say this
other.
about her that you
I meet
bring
with
that
people
up when
all
Trump
the
do it
time
too.
I
who
did.
tell me,
That was the first thing
can
I
we
said.
please just have discourse about
But you know
how
what I
we're
don't
going to
understand is
invest in
like,
the
do you think there could ever be a time where politicians are actually honest?
I would like to think so. At least about their race.
I don't.
You can lie to me about
But
politics all you can lie to me about the policies all you want to. You can say what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do, what you're not gonna do. Only way we'd be able to tell is if you're in office. But you're not. You're not gonna sit up here as a nigga. Yo auntie, my grandma ran a barbecue place in Richmond, California. We done been to so many different family reunions, family gatherings. We done had soul food up and down for 30 plus years. When have you ever seen anybody cook greens in the bathtub?
oh yeah, that was a little wild.
When have you ever seen anybody put bacon in greens?
You usually do ham hocks. I've seen bacon and greens though,
It wasn't
but
from
we
no
usually do ham hocks.
right. It wasn't from us. It's probably from somebody else. But that's my point though.
Bringing up the greens though, I had an ex girlfriend. She made some pretty good greens one year.
Did she cook them in the
Mm.
bathtub?
Now she cooked them in a pot. That's usually where greens are cooked, in a big pot.
Not according to Kamala Harris.
I mean, I'm gonna give her a pass on that one.
Hell no. You know why I'm not giving her a pass?
I just wouldn't eat at her house.
You know why I'm more strongly opinionated about this than I am the rest of the shit that they talking about?
Why?
Because they think we stupid.
What do you mean?
They think we stupid. Which we not showing
Both
them.
of them or her?
Her.
Okay.
Run the black woman card and get the black woman votes. I'm not going for it. I'm not going for the black votes. I've said this 1,000 times. I've said it 1,000 times again. You're not about to
Mhm.
play with me, bro.
Mhm. Anything she playing?
Yes. Her and my mom the same color. And I can clearly see the difference in just culture. And my mom can show you her black dad and her black mama. Watch this.
Watch what we watching.
I'm about to show you.
Is this on the I'm gonna be on the live? Mm.
It's not a lie.
Who this?
Freaky ass nigga. Is she black?
I was asking who this.
Is she black?
She look black. She look black.
Is she black?
She look black.
Yes or no?
I'm gonna say yes.
She's an Indian. She'll tell you.
Oh, look for
This is Kamala Harris. This is Kamala Harris right here.
it.
That's Liza Koshy, content creator, hella funny, TikToker, YouTuber, beautiful soul, beautiful person, talented. So I'm not
Hmm.
attacking. I'm not attacking her when I say this.
Oh no, I know that she bad.
She's Indian. This is
She's
what
still
Indian. This
bad.
this is what it. That's not the point.
Go
This is
ahead, make your point.
this is what Indians can look like.
All right.
Don't look too far away from that woman, don't she? Hmm.
Mm,
Resemble, don't they? Young.
I think the other one.
Only reason why she looked more black because her hair is black. Her hair is brown.
Yeah, but I think
You're not about to play with me in
not
my
this.
face, Oscar.
Look, no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I think it's a little bit harder to tell when you have that lighter color and that lighter complexion. If she had been darker, it might have been easier to tell if she was Indian or not.
Oscar,
What?
look at that nose. Look at that nose. Look at your nose. Look at my nose. Look at that nose. Look at that.
I'm not about to. I'm not about to
Look
do
at the
this.
nose, Oscar.
Aspirations and
Look at
I'm
the
not about to
nose.
do this.
Look
I'm
at the
not.
nose, Oscar. You're not about to sit here and play with me.
Who playing with you?
Them,
I ain't
not
playing
you.
with you.
Them. They not about to sit here and play in my face, Oscar. This, and she'll tell you, she's like, I'm
Mhm.
not black. But you look at these pictures, you look at this video. Besides this one, she looked Indian.
She look Indian in that one.
She looked like a black girl, or could pass as a black girl.
Can you text me her Instagram?
the ambitions and the dreams of the American people. Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your third time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never
Oh,
been
you
anything
lying
like
now.
it. They're
You lying
destroying
now.
our country,
He-
and they come
hey,
up with
hey, 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 Mr. Trump, you a damn lie. You's a lie.
He was January 6th, 2020.
Oscar said I gotta call it as I see it. I don't know. I don't know.
What?
He just told a bold-faced lie. He said this is the most divisive president or divisive administration. Nah, buddy, because
His
your Trump supporters is different.
they was on they was on different time.
They was all in the cult. It was one big cult, one big Trump cult.
Make America great again.
Man, look.
things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up,
I
Lindsay.
want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, And I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans.
She sound like Obama.
What you mean?
She sound like Obama.
Well, how? I'm asking how.
All that we believe, bring the people together, collective, this and that.
She's trying to inspire.
I don't look. Y'all been inspiring us for too long. I'm over being inspired.
So let me ask you this. So clearly politics in our the current state of our society are necessary, right?
Right.
But one thing that you I feel like you've preached, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, which I know you will.
Wrong.
Um,
No, just playing.
wrong, wrong. Um, do you think if Black Americans pull together to make a stronger united community and a stronger united front, that will be as dependent on politics?
I think if we were to come together
Hmm.
and unionize our vote, we would get more in return. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to vote the same way, but I
Hmm.
think collectively we need to look at ourselves and say how we voting. I mean, I'm not saying everybody, because of course there's going to be some people who are going to vote who they're going to vote for, regardless of, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
But
I don't even mean like in the voting way. I mean like if we for lack of a better way to say it, well, I won't say that. If we did better with our dollars, right? Would we be so dependent on the politicians? Like as a Black community, like if we held on, circulated our dollars in our community better, work together to uplift each other and all that,
we
and
wouldn't.
focus.
I get what you're saying. We wouldn't be as dependent
Yeah.
on them and voting for them. I agree. But I also think if that was the case, we would also vote Republican because we would have infrastructure, and I think the infrastructure would probably favor businesses and everything. So I think more black people would actually vote Republican than Democrat.
Do you think? Do you think the Republican Party would do more? Um, I don't know if the Republican Party necessarily has a lot of skin in the game for social programs for Black people. I haven't looked, but do you think we would be as concerned about that if we did better with our dollars, so to speak?
I think if we did better with our dollars, we wouldn't need as many social programs. It really, like
And
I preach this all the time. It comes down to us and making a change. We only
yeah,
we only
no,
we
that
only rely on the government because the Democrats give us money and care and this and that for doing the some not all, but some people doing the bare minimum. It's always like we're looking for a
uh,
handout, and the Democrats
yeah.
give us that handout, but it doesn't
Well,
lift us as a community. It's just like, oh, here.
it's kind of like the
It's a shut up. It's a
it's
here.
like
It's a here, nigga. Damn. You know when you give somebody something
no,
you don't really want to. Here,
yeah,
damn.
it's the give a man a give a man a fish, but not teaching him how to fish.
Bingo. And every Republican that I know is more like teach him how to fish and let him get his own. If you don't get it, then you don't get it. But everybody look at that as if like it's mean and we supposed to hand and reach for each other. Cool, we should, But that should be an option, not
Right.
being
Well,
forced
I
to.
think like, and I get what you're saying when you say Republicans like teach them how to fish and let them get their own, let them fend for themselves, right?
Right.
But I also think that um stuff needs to be fair across the board among people
It's not
in
gonna
order to
happen.
make that more possible.
It's not gonna happen.
Well, yeah, I know, but
It'll never happen.
so without
No matter who's the president, it won't happen.
right, so without that being fair across the board,
We need our own shit.
do you think it's still possible for us to like build our own stuff?
It's over with. It's
What
over.
do you mean?
We're not gonna be able to build our own stuff for many years. Our grandkids probably might be able to pull something together, but it's gonna take
You
some
know what's
generations.
interesting about that? I gotta call my auntie out on this. She won't give us that recipe.
I knew it was coming. So you said I gotta call my auntie, and I knew what you was talking about.
I gotta call my auntie because I asked her like last time I saw her. I was like, "Yo, you gonna come up with that recipe?" She's like, "No." She just like flat out said no. Do you think? Do you think that like? And I think in this particular situation with her, like that's like one thing, right? Do you think that that attitude is too deeply embedded in the community, like people trying to keep stuff for themselves instead of like being open with it? And that's an emphatic yes. If y'all ain't watching, he's shaking his head emphatically yes.
Absolutely, it's the uh, I don't want to. I'm gonna say it like this because I'm just straightforward. It's the slave mentality.
A crab in a barrel.
Yeah, you got to keep it so nobody else can get it. It's funny. I was just talking to my guy Rue earlier today, and we was just chopping up about music, and I was asking him some questions because I want to take you good digital in the direction of music and sports as well. And we was having that conversation about music, and he was just like, "Yeah, the more and more we give, the more and more we do this, the more and more we bring in people. It could do this, it could blow up that. Just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
politicking." And mind you, Rue is Filipino.
Right.
And and I know every race, and I'm not comparing. I know every race has their issues or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But from what I see on the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
Filipinos support each other, Mexicans
Yeah.
support each other, the
Yeah.
Russians support each other, the
Yeah.
Armenians that live out this way
Yeah.
support each other. Um, Everybody seems to have that. We may have issues, but we still gonna find a way to support one another.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't have that.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes when I go to some of the establishments I like to frequent, I always support black business when I go there.
I stopped doing that a long time ago.
But supporting black business?
I support good business.
Well, yeah. I think you kind of missed what I was saying on that, or you ignored it, one or the two. But
I
yeah,
probably
I
missed it.
think, yeah. I said some of the establishments I frequent, I make sure to support black businesses when I go there. I think you got it that time.
It didn't click the first time. I heard it, but I was like, nah, I don't think he meant it that way. Like, what did he? Did you
Oh,
say it
I definitely
again?
meant it that way.
No, 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 no. I was thinking something else. But I
No,
knew you didn't mean it like that. But I was like, nah, he didn't mean it like that. But that makes sense.
but I do agree with you on about supporting good business. Like I would prefer to support a good business that happens to be black, right?
Right, right.
That's always the goal, right?
The same way I do my clothing stuff. Like most of the stuff that I wear is usually black owned, but it still has to be good. I'm just not gonna buy it
Yeah,
because it's black owned. Like
yeah,
that's basically another affirmative another way of affirmative action.
right.
Like I'm not just about to
I
give it to you because you black. Like nah, bro, you got to earn my money. Why do I say you have to earn my money? Is because I still want you to keep your quality up. I still want you to keep the customer service up. I still want you to build a business that if black people just one day just decided to stop supporting you for whatever reason, you can still go out into the world and have,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many black owned businesses I went to, and I'm gonna say this, but then I'm gonna come back with something else because I just thought about something. You know how many black
Okay.
owned businesses, restaurants that I went into and the customer service sucked? But on the flip side to that, because I do want to be fair, I've also went into other races,
Yeah.
businesses, and the customer service sucked. But the difference is I wasn't expecting them to have the best customer service for me. I think I expected black people to have the black business owners to have better customer
Is
service
that
for me
fair enough?
because
Is that
yeah,
fair?
yeah, I think it is fair.
'Cause I was gonna say I think
I think
customer service across the board sucks.
I think it, yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's fair because one, if you keep talking about we the marginalized, we underappreciated, we not even 13%. It's not a lot of us. We systemic racism. You would think with people knowing that you want to treat the person that's going through the same situation as you better than what they gonna treat you outside. You would think when you see somebody else black that you'd be like, "What's up, my brother? Head up."
Right.
Or my
Well,
sister,
it's
head up.
interesting.
Smile,
When
beautiful
I
queen. What's up, king? Like you would think we would have that camaraderie with each other, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? It is what it
yeah,
is.
yeah. I I remember at one of my jobs, I used to deal with like a lot of different people. And every time I saw a black person come in there, if I had the opportunity, I pull them aside and be like, "Yo, handle this way. Do this way. Do this
Right.
way. Let me put you up on game." I think one thing that was always kind of like made me sad in those
And I will say
situations.
this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Mm,
you off.
mm,
I do have people who have done that for me. What you're saying, like where I'm working at now, the black people they always come up say what's up. Mm-mm-mm. So it does happen. What I'm saying is
yeah.
because of the situation we're in, it needs to happen more than just you know what I'm saying. Like,
But it's interesting that you point that out though. Is I think look at the environment you're in now. So the black people in that environment have a different
hmm,
mentality.
true, 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 true,
Like I think that
true.
environment has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But
I give you that.
I'm gonna switch topics real quick, and I know it's just kind of all over the place. James Earl Jones, that's who it was,
Yeah, that's crazy.
bro? That's hella crazy. I was just watching Big Bang Theory, and he was on one of the episodes, and I
Yeah.
was like, dang,
They, he out of here, man. I ain't gonna lie, I was sad, bro. You talking about Sandlot. You talking about the voice of Mufasa. You talking about Coming to America, the King of
right?
Zamunda. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Yeah, I was kind of sad when I was sad.
Darth Vader. He's the voice of
Darth
Darth
Vader,
Vader.
yeah, Darth Vader for sure. Um, I was kind of sad, and then I was like, you know what? That man lived a long,
Yeah, that
long
part, that part,
life.
that part, that
A
part.
legendary long life. Like James Earl Jones will forever go down as one of the greats. Like it's not even
It's
like
not a question.
yeah, it's not even a question. Like I'm talking about from
It's
like
a
from
statement.
from my childhood to my adulthood. Like James Earl Jones is like
He was old all your life.
I don't think James Earl Jones is old all my life. Now Morgan Freeman on the other hand.
Um,
Morgan
since we
Freeman.
talking about, he's old all your life.
Bro, look at this. Look at all these classics.
Um,
Look at all these
talking
classics.
about like he was born in 1931. He was old all your life, bro. He was born in the 90s. He
Like
was 60 when he was born.
look. But at least we can find a picture of him being young. We can't find a picture of Morgan Freeman as a young man. we still try, we still try to find that. But James Earl Jones, like, bro, look at this, bro. And this is just some of the stuff he been in. It's not even all of the stuff.
Um, all right, James Earl Jones just passed today. That was today, right? Or was it yesterday?
I believe it was
I think that
yesterday.
was.
It was yesterday.
All right, Rich Homie Quan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I guess you all politics, right?
I mean, we could go back to it,
Hey, you wanna
but I
like
just
they gotta no, let's stay on the Rich Homie Quan real quick
okay.
because it can go with my situation about how much I don't like the where the black community is heading to. I'm starting to realize, bro, all of
Hmm.
our talented musicians are drug addicts. If
Drug
they
addicts or
it,
drug dealers.
drug addicts. I remember when they was just drug
Hmm.
dealers. I remember when getting high off your own supply was a no no.
Well, so I'm not trying to start an argument with this statement or a debate that we've had 100 times on this channel. I'm not trying to start that debate tonight, but I gotta make this statement. I gotta make this statement. Do you think it has anything to do with the
Oh
people who
my
controls?
god.
I'm just asking a question because, like, these people don't put out the music they want to put out. They put out the music they're told to put out.
Not true.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, based off that premise, if it's literally not true that they don't put out the music they want to put out, then yeah, they doing it to themselves. But they putting out the music that they told to put out. Like,
It's algorithms, it's numbers. It's the same thing that I do with my Instagram. So I put out the things that I want to do that I enjoy that I might not be the best at right now, but I'm working on it, which I'll say DJing. People like
hmm
it. They mess with it. They rock with it. They know I'm new to the game. How do I keep them? How do I hook them? How do I keep them watching?
hmm
I post a dance video.
but you putting out what you're told to put out in that situation. Because you couldn't put out just what you want to put out. You have to put out the stuff that you're told to put out, so to speak, to get them to keep the people there.
Yes, the idea of that, yes, but there's also the medium is what I'm trying to say is I'm not putting out anything that's I'm not doing anything over the top to get views. I'm just doing something else that I'm good, really, really good at.
Right.
I can be
So,
doing I can be running around doing the dumb stuff that a lot of these vloggers and these
but that's
YouTubers do.
that's you. You
But that's my
have,
point though. Like just because you not getting hits over here with what you want to do, you could still put out good quality music on this side and still, you know what I'm saying? Like you can still bend a little bit and
but
still make a hit.
no, but I think the point that you're missing, or the point I think you're missing, is if you did some of that crazy stuff, you probably get a lot more views. Like, we say it about our podcast all the time. If we talked about certain things, or when we talk about the silly stuff, we get a lot more views. When you went up to the dude, like, "Oh, is that Reggie?" How many views that get, right? So, what
But
I will
that's
say for
not really
you
out of pocket though, because that's how I am off camera.
is,
You know that.
but I know, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is you won't, you'll only go but so far to be silly to get whatever, and you won't go too far outside of your own personality if you go outside of your own personality at all. Everybody's not built like that. There's a lot of people that says I got to do this because I want to be here, and I think you respect yourself enough to say I'm not going to do that just to be there.
I think these niggas is junkies and they just talking about what they are doing and seeing and around and the people, the companies, the corporations see the money and the notoriety they get behind it, so they put the money to back them. If you don't make stuff like this, nobody's gonna buy into it.
I think, well, I think this whole thing goes back to,
If all the top black rappers and musicians started talking about positive stuff, It might not hit at first, but eventually the tune will change.
Yes, but
And the
the challenge
corporations
there.
only follow behind the money. They don't care what these niggas talk about.
I don't know if I agree with that.
They don't. Long as the topic is bringing in money, they don't care. If Baby Shark is what it is, we pushing Baby Shark. Why do you think Baby Shark was on every kid's? Do you think that just happened because of kids?
I get that.
That
I
was
don't know if
fab.
I agree.
That's fabricated just as much as the drug, sex, and gangbanging talk.
No, I agree. It is fabricated.
And it
I guess what I'm
hits.
saying though, I want to take us back to what we discussed earlier in the in the podcast about the unity among Black people.
Unity. Sorry.
I think the biggest issue right now is there's not enough unity for us to control our own narrative.
The biggest issue is us.
Yeah, and not having enough unity to control our own narrative.
That's why I say racism ain't even an issue right now. Everybody's so stuck on systemic racism. I'm like, bro, you know how many jumps, hurdles, hoops, and leaps I gotta go through before I even get to racism? Oscar, I can't even walk down in certain parks at night by myself. I'm more afraid of somebody that look like me than a cop driving by.
I'm about equally afraid of both of them.
No, because I know because I know how to talk to a cop. I know how to talk to my people too. I shouldn't say that. I know how to talk to my people too. But at least I know with a cop and a badge, there's some type of protocol. Some type.
Yeah,
Whether they follow it or not, there's some type of protocol. Out here in these streets, there is no protocol, bro.
they just do what they want to do.
They do what they want, bro.
It used to
Bro.
be a protocol in the streets. It used to be.
There was
It
a,
ain't out there no more. But it used
there,
to be.
there was a kid in Philly who just got arrested. He's 16 years old. He had 9 attempted murders in 2 weeks and 4 bodies in a span of 2 weeks.
He wasn't good at his job.
Why he shouldn't have missed?
Hey, he shouldn't have got caught.
Stupid.
He wasn't good at his job. Like if your job is to be a criminal, you're not supposed to get caught. Not that quick, at least.
All criminals get caught or die.
At some
But
point. At some point.
but
But I get what you're saying. Like
my overall
it's
point
just
is you don't know what somebody like that is thinking. At least if you dealing with a cop, you know the protocols that they gotta take so you can outthink them. You could play this.
sometimes.
You could play the sucker role. Like if you're not a threat, you can play the sucker role, bro. Like it's easy. Nobody want to play there. Everybody want to pump their chest up. You could easily play the sucker role, bro. You
You
can't
talking
play.
about with a cop or what? Oh, you talking about like if you see somebody like that on the streets playing the sucker role ain't gonna work because they still gonna just be with all that bravado.
It depends on if they high, because most of them is high
Yeah.
off of some type of drug. So it's like we got to get our own shit in order, bro. 16 years old, and he ain't the only one. This ain't the first one I heard. Like it's, and I ain't putting this on. And I hate to say this, 'cause I'm not putting this on Rich Homie Quan. Shout out to Rich Homie Quan. Like, bro, he was a legend. You know what I'm saying? For Atlanta and the party scene, I believe it was like 2019 to 2000. I mean 2009 to 2013 was like the Rich Homie Quan, Young Thug era coming up, bro. They was going crazy. Um, it just sucks that he had to go from an addiction that I allegedly heard that he had,
Mm-hmm.
and bro got a bad pill and didn't make it. Like the drugs, the over sexualizing black women, and then the gangs, like women, like we doing it to ourselves, bro. And the cold part is we not even organized. At least the Mexican mafia organized. in some way, shape, or form. Like
Right.
they breaking their own out of jail. At
Right.
least the Serbians, the Italians, they all unified when it come to organized crime. We all out for self. Like LA itself is so divided. Like the politics in LA is so crazy. Jesus. Oh, I was just talking about that on the threads. The politics in LA is crazy. Like they're talking about Pop Smoke Killer. I guess he's allegedly a Hoover Crip, young dude. He did it when he did it. He was 16 or something like that, 17.
Hmm.
He out now. Did his time, whatever. He out, and everybody on the East Coast is like, oh, he ain't. He better watch out. He better watch out. And everybody on the West Coast is like, bruh, ain't nobody worried about like you know what I'm saying? Like ain't nobody over here worried about him doing pop smoking. Don't nobody. That's just how the policies are in LA. Nobody. I'll give you a perfect example. Nobody was after nobody that the dude that killed Biggie and Pac. And the streets knew who it was. Dude ended up getting killed over something else later on down the line, something gang related. But everybody knew who it was, but the politics is different, bro. Like it's just different. We so and then going back to my original point, we just so divided. We're just so divided in every way, shape, or form. Women don't like men; they choosing the bear. Um, the gang violence, uh, music, like it's just, bro. Like, dog, like we so divisive. Hell, matter of fact, motherfuckers are so divisive that people can't even congratulate Kendrick Lamar for getting the Super Bowl. They upset that
Right.
Lil Wayne,
Didn't get it.
who if you seen perform lately, is not a Super Bowl act as of today, didn't get it. And it's like, dog, like why can't we just be happy Jay Z, the black man, the last 4 or 5 Super Bowl has been black people? Why can't we just be happy
Right.
about that?
Right.
It's always got to be an issue. And now Nicki Minaj and Baby is mad at Jay Z, and it's like, dog, we can never just be like, all right, cool, it was their turn today. Who's to say
Very
that?
true.
Who's to say Kendrick won't bring up Lil Wayne?
Right. That's true.
Lil Wayne might not be the main act, but he could touch the stage.
That's very true.
You know what I'm
That's very
saying?
true.
So it's like I just think at this point in time, bro. That's why when you be talking about systemic racism, I be like, man, majority of black people don't even experience systemic racism. They ain't even doing enough.
Yeah. And you know that's actually a very interesting point that you brought up. Maybe I have a different experience with it because of what I where I'm at and what I do.
And I would agree with that. I would 100% agree with that. But like I said, majority of black people are not in your shoes. They are not. And even I would I would say majority of black people are in my shoes. And and I don't even experience systemic racism.
Um, I so this is gonna be kind of wild for me to say. I don't know if you know when you experiencing it yet.
Um, I get what you're saying, and you could be right.
Hmm.
But because I'm aware of it, I'm gonna say I am. But again, because where you are in your company, I'm gonna say you could be right.
And so, and the reason why I make that statement about you specifically, you gonna keep homie Quan up, or you just gonna switch to just us?
Just the two of us. We can make
We
it if
can
we
make it if
try.
we try. Um, the reason why I say you might not even know you're experiencing it yet is because
And rest in peace, Rich
there,
Homie Quan. Sorry. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Rest in peace.
absolutely,
Rest in peace, Fat Man Scoop. Rest in peace, Beat King down out there in Texas. It was just like back to back to back. It was a crazy last 2 weeks. Rest in peace to those talented individuals. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely,
Black men to black men. We love y'all. Rest in peace. You dig.
absolutely.
But go ahead.
Um, because when you first started this new journey that you're on, I would say stuff to you like, nah, I could do this, I could do that. And then as you kept on that journey, you changed that tune real quick.
What you mean? Be specific. N word.
It's hard to be specific because it's some of the stuff we just can't talk about on camera
You talking
because it
about?
ain't everybody's
You
business.
talking about women?
No, 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 no.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
about employment.
Oh, what you mean?
I'm talking
If
about
if I'm
employment.
if I'm
Like,
looking over here, I'm looking at you. The camera's over here.
yeah, no, that's
Mm.
fine. I'm talking about
There's a
employment
camera here too.
specifically, right? I'm talking about employment because you made statements, and I was like, you can't do that, and you can't do this, and yeah, this is how this goes, or whatever. And when you first started this new journey, you're like, nah, 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 and then as you've been on that journey, things have started to change a little bit in how you approach things.
You know
I've been
why?
seeing it.
You know why?
Hmm.
Because I grew.
Hmm.
I grew as a person. I grew as a man. That same mentality that I speak against, that same
Hmm.
culture that I'm preaching against now, is what I used
Hmm.
to think, and that's why I used to say what I used to say.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I make the bold statement that, so I don't know if you even know when you're experiencing it yet, because like in your corporate career, and I think I can say this, you're still young in your corporate career,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
you could say that for sure.
So
Easy.
you haven't charted some of the things or seen some of the places, because like right now it's like you at a level where it's like, yeah, whatever, and not in a bad way, right? Because you're young in your corporate career.
Yeah.
You start getting this, hitting certain levels and hitting certain spots, things start changing and start, you be like, huh, I wonder why this is like this. I wonder why this is like that. And
I
stuff like that kind of starts happening.
I hear you, and I understand where you're coming from, but I promise you,
Mm-hmm.
I've had to jump through more hurdles
Mm-hmm.
dealing with my own
Mm-hmm.
than I've had to do with any other race. And
Yeah.
maybe because I might just be the token black guy that they like. That might be my story. I
Well,
don't
no,
know.
that well, so hold on. That's absolutely a part of your story. That's absolutely a part of your story. What I'm saying is that story is only good, but so far,
Got you. Got you. Got
right?
you. Got you. Got you. Got you.
You haven't
Yeah,
hit
yeah,
the, you
hmm
know when they talk about that glass ceiling,
yeah, yeah. It's there.
you haven't butted up against that yet.
Right, 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 right. Hmm.
And so like what
Fair
I
enough.
hope what I hope is your experience that you're currently experiencing. I hope as you grow in your DJ career, your dance career, if you so choose to keep doing it, as this podcast grow, and as you grow in your corporate career, I hope you never hit that. I hope you never experience it. Like, I
I'm
hope you
I,
stay ignorant to
I'm
it.
gonna experience. That's the thing, though. I'm gonna experience it all. We're gonna. Ice Cube is experiencing it with the big three in the NBA. We're gonna experience it no matter what level we're at. I understand that it's there. I'm.
Hmm.
I just like. I can only work with what I have and what I'm around. I can't. I can't. When I get there, I'll worry about it. I want to, like me and my
Yeah,
my
yeah,
boy
yeah.
Ruth said today. I don't want to worry about anything. I want to be solution based.
Well, but here's the other part of that, though, right? When you get to those points, those walls might be gone.
Hmm. That's another way to look
Like,
at it.
yeah, and that's why I said, why I made the statement. Like, I hope you never have to experience it. I hope you never get there. Hopefully, the black community, both affluent and in need, and everything in between. Hopefully, that community is able to come together and help remove those walls. Hopefully, we get the right local government officials and all the right people in the right places to make sure those things aren't a thing anymore. Right? So
We
we'll see
always
though.
end up talking about N words.
Well, hopefully those N words come together and help break these
Too
walls
funny.
down.
Donald Trump trying to build her.
Bro. Yeah, he is.
But anyways,
He,
let me see here. I had something I want to. But nah, yeah, it's one of them things to where like I think we shoot ourselves in the foot more
absolutely. Absolutely.
than what they do to us. Cause you know how many
I don't
times
know if it's more, but I know it is definitely on par with.
you try to help somebody and that look like you and you got backlash for it or you got some type of something for it.
You know
Excuse me.
what? I will be completely honest with you and transparent with you. I don't even know if I try to help that much anymore. I'll be real with you. Like
Why is
I
that?
only because a person can only be helped if they want to be helped.
And we don't want to help ourselves. Why? Because good old white daddy is gonna come in and give everybody health care and make sure you get your Section 8 and make sure you get your this and that.
Well, well, I is I think sometimes we get caught up in oversimplifying stuff on the podcast. I'll say that. I think, and not purposely, but this is a lot of
And mind
complex
you,
stuff.
time out. Because you're right.
Uh huh.
You're right. Mind you, I'm not opposed for free healthcare. I'm not opposed for people getting help. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is you stop and I'm not just talking to black people. Let me say that too. No, let's not rely on it. Let's not depend on it.
Well, so it's interesting that you say that, right? Because like I know people from Europe, right? Like my girlfriend's French, right?
Your
And she
baguette.
thinks my baguette. And she thinks the healthcare system in the U.S. is like completely ridiculous because they have universal healthcare. Like I was talking to her and she was like,
But then on the flip side, I have a friend that's in Canada. They have
uh-huh,
universal health care, and they say it
uh-huh.
sucks. So
Yeah, well, the folks in Europe, the folks I've talked to in Europe, they say their healthcare is good, or at least she said it was good.
mhm,
Like they get all the medicine that they need. They don't have to worry about it. The cost of some of the benefits that people in her family have gotten would be astronomical in the U.S.
right,
So, I mean, and her and I argue about like I would say, let me rephrase that. We have heated debates and discussions on work ethic in different ways that Europe is structured versus America is structured, right?
right,
But what I did say is like I think Europe has done some stuff right that the US could benefit and learn from. Um, but I think there are some things in the US, I don't know what off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there's things in the US that we do right that Europe could benefit from. But I
right.
think all in all, the biggest issue is that I've been starting to take issue with capitalism in general, right? It's just and with myself included, like it's just we live in such excess sometimes.
What do you mean?
Capitalism is built on how much you have,
Right,
right? And so sometimes I think that gets in the way of basic human rights.
got it. I think I see where you're
And
going.
like yeah, and so she had brought up, maybe I'll bring her on the podcast one time so she could like defend her viewpoints. Um she brought up how we were talking about can't remember exactly what we were talking about. I've been doing like a lot of introspective work recently. But she was saying, "Oh yeah, being happy in Europe is easier because you could go out and you could buy a bunch of beers and appetizers and stuff and spend like uh $10 or $15. That same going out in the US would cost like 40, 50, $60, right? For
Minimum.
beers and appetizers. Yeah, right.
Minimum.
And so she said like, yeah, it's easier to be happy in Europe. And I'm like, well, maybe to an extent, but as long as you have people who are homeless,
Hmm.
are unhoused, are transient, whatever the politically correct thing to say is today,
Homeless.
as
We're
long as
not
you have
doing that. Homeless. They don't got a roof over their head. Goddamn
like as long as
Democrats
you
always trying to make up a new word for some shit. Just say they homeless. They are without a home.
but
Fuck.
anywho, as long as you have that, that means society is not doing what it needs to do, in my opinion, right?
Right.
And I spent like a month and a half in Europe recently,
Hmm.
and I saw homeless people.
Yeah, they do
So
have 'em, and
I
especially if you
live,
go to Paris. Paris is just as ghetto as San Francisco. For those who wanted to know,
yeah, yeah, I heard,
it's just as
I heard.
dirty.
And so like what I think is crazy is like she was like she spoke about those merits of Europe, which I can't take away because it is what it is. And but I was like, we still got it wrong. It's still wrong. It's just not as wrong in Europe as it is in the US sometimes. Maybe, you know. It's still wrong. It's still not, it still doesn't work. It's still broken. It
Right.
might just be less broken. That's what I said. America's broken, Europe's broken. Maybe one's less broken than the other, but it's still broken. But
I
I
mean,
won't.
problems are gonna always come up. It's how you
Right.
deal with them.
Yeah.
It seems that they deal with their problems a little bit better than what we deal with ours.
They
Um,
take it more head on. It feels like.
well, yeah, that's because we live in a, you know, we live under a blue society, so everybody's nobody's really direct and nobody's really taking account for taking accountability for their actions.
But our in our society, we don't get rewarded for being direct.
I know. Trust me, I know. As somebody that's very direct, I'm looked at as the asshole my whole
Yeah.
entire
No,
life.
me too. Like, let me tell you, like, you might not even recognize me at work sometimes because of how I interact because it's necessary to interact that way. You be like, "That my cousin?" I ain't never heard him
No,
sound like that. Huh?
nah. I've heard you say some
On work
things.
calls?
Hmm. Remember before we started the podcast at my other house, my other apartment. Hmm. You didn't
But
have
who
to.
was I?
You
It
you
depends on
didn't
who I was
you didn't
talking
have
to.
to stick your foot in somebody's ass a couple of times while we were over there. I was like, oh. Yeah, I ain't gonna say what happened, but I remember what took place because you got upset because you had to go and do it the next day, and then you was telling me like if something would have happened, X Y Z, it could have been a whole
A
shit.
problem.
Yeah, so when you told me that, I was like, because to me, I was like, that's it, and you was like, no, because of this, and then I got to do it this. I was like, okay, never mind. You got it, boss. you got it, boss.
Well,
So
that's that's why I say like you're still young in your corporate journey, right?
fair
Because
enough. Fair enough.
like even though like I don't have any full time staff members that report to me, but I do have contractors that report to me, right?
Yeah, it was one of the
So
contractors.
so so like I have people's output that I am directly or indirectly responsible for,
Right.
right? So when that starts happening, stuff you look at things a little bit differently,
Right.
and you
Right.
don't look it. I can't just look at the. I have to look at the consequences of actions and everything. I can't just look at what's right in front of me.
Right.
I have to be tact. tactical about how I look at everything that happens and how it rolls out and everything.
Which is fair enough. You know,
But yeah, so
I don't think
it's interesting.
nobody knock you for it, but like overall, I do think overall, I think the root. I think a lot of things. I'm not gonna say this will solve everything, but I think
Hmm.
a lot of problems that we have can literally be
Hmm.
solved if we just, as a community, look within.
I I don't know if I ever disagree with you when you say that, but I do agree with that. I agree with it because that looking within has to be done on multiple levels, right?
Oh,
So
so
I
many
think
layers to that. So many
yeah,
layers to that.
so the individual needs to look within and make sure their cup is full.
The family needs
The
to look
household
within. Exactly.
the household needs to look within itself and make sure that cup is full. And then the small community and
The spiderweb effect.
so forth and so forth. Yeah.
The spiderweb effect.
But yeah, so
And that's what I mean. Cause like I won't say that. I won't say
see,
that.
this is you weren't always like that.
I won't say that.
Like you thought about whatever it was you was about to say. You thought about it and you was like,
Cause
I'm gonna leave that alone.
I don't say. Cause sometimes I'm learning, as you know, some things are just better left unsaid, and those who don't understand, that's all right.
If you know, you know.
If you
It's one of those
know, you
situations.
know. But I will say this: if we start shaming the stuff that we do on a regular basis, then I think we can get better. Black people.
No, I see what you're saying.
Like we used to shame people for doing drugs. Like we used to, not us in general, like me and you.
Yeah, I
I
know
mean,
what you're talking about. Like the
no, no,
community.
even then, like my generation, we used to call niggas knocks. Like, bro, you a knock, bro. Like you doing, like you know what I'm saying? Like what? You doing what? Like you a knock. Like you a dope fiend, bro.
I want to open up a can of worms real quick.
All right, go ahead.
I get what you're saying. I see where you're coming from, and I want to ask you a question. I think I already know the answer, so it might not actually be a long conversation, right? Do you think the culture of being so accepting is part of the problem for the black community?
I think the culture of being so accepted is a part of what's going on with the part of the wrong with the U.S. right now. Everything doesn't need to be accepted. I don't. There's there's a lot of
Cancel. You getting
there's
canceled.
a
You getting
there's
canceled.
a lot of shit that I will just not accept. Matter of fact, I'll pull up a video.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. You know, people send me
Yeah,
videos.
this one right here.
No, 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 no. This is actually a good one. Let me see. Hold on.
This one was a good one with
Did,
Unc.
yeah, we didn't see this one, right? I mean, we talked about
I don't
something
think
that
it was.
time. Yeah, we didn't see that one.
I don't think it was that one.
I can't show you this DM though. I gotta send this because me and my
Put it in
boy.
the group. Save it in the group.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Cause me and my boy be going crazy with the, you know what I'm saying, with the memes, and you never know what you might get. Okay.
You funny.
Me and all my friends are unfiltered. Every single last
Oh,
one of them.
I'm sure.
Every single last one of them. And if you sensitive, then we probably won't. Uh, I mean, we can get
Won't
along,
work.
but I probably just won't. You know what I'm saying? I probably just won't have you around a lot. You know how you say?
Yeah.
You know how you say when it comes to
What? What did I say?
women? Oh wait.
Troll.
I'm
Trolling.
I'm looking at you over here with my camera over here. That's hella funny. All right, you ready? Oh, let's see.
Yeah, play it. Play it.
I use they pronouns.
Hi, my name is Liana. I use they demon pronouns.
This video is how to use our pronouns. So Liana uses they them pronouns and demon pronouns. So the first sentence would be, Liana is my partner, they are cute, and I am theirs. I love them very much, and I hope they love themselves too. For the demon pronouns, it would be, Liana is my partner, Deem is cute, and I belong to Deem. I love Demon very much, and I hope Deem loves Demon's self too. Then interchanging the two would be, Liana is my partner, they are cute, and I am Deem's. I love Demon very much, and I hope they love Demon's self too. Hi, my name's Jasper. I use they pronouns.
Hi, my name is Liana. I use they demon pronouns.
It's just certain shit that I'm not accepting. Sorry, that's one of them. Not doing
I
it. I'm not calling nobody demon unless you're really a demon. Come on, Oscar, stand on some shit. Stand on business.
I I don't understand what be going on. That's all I'm gonna say. I just I don't understand. I don't get it.
I understand it completely.
I don't.
What don't you understand about it?
No, like, do I understand the words and do I
Oh,
understand
okay,
what they
yeah,
were
okay.
trying to
So
see with the words?
basically, just what I said. I understand it.
But like,
Oh, look at you. See that? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. That's that accountability that we don't have because everybody want to be so inclusive. There's shaming should come back. This is what I mean when I say shame. Shaming should come back. Yeah, I remember your parents used to shame.
so,
Shame on you. Shame on you. You remember that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What Eddie Murphy said, Mulan? Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Yeah, dishonor. Dishonor. Cause what the hell is even is that? Like what? Look at Oscar. He trying to stay so green. He trying to stay so green. I'm gonna get famous. They're gonna pull this clip up and they're gonna be like, he does not like trans people, and I'm gonna have to, hit you on the head with that's a lie. So I'm just saying, I'm just
That
saying,
is a lie.
right. I'm just gonna have to hit you with that now. So when you pull this clip up, make sure you watch it in its entirety. Um,
They're never gonna watch it in its entirety.
of
You
course
know
not.
that. You know they're
Of,
gonna
of
clip it
course
up.
not. Of
So
course
you
not.
just have the clips ready to respond to the clips that they clip up. That's it.
Y'all can do whatever, and I mean everybody, not even just trans people. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. Just don't bring me into it and make me have to switch up what I'm doing in my life for y'all to feel comfortable. And I don't give a damn if it's gang bangers. I don't care if it's drug addicts. I don't care if it's Democrats, Republicans, any politicians, trans people, straight people, people that don't identify with anything. I don't care. Don't bring me into it. We can all be this. We can all be this, or however the new heart is. We can all be this. We can learn to coexist, but you don't have to bring me into your world, just like I don't have to bring you into my world. Simple. I'm Muslim. I'm not going around telling everybody they should be a Muslim. If they ask me, I'll educate them. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm doing something, they say, "What's that? Or what are you doing? Praying out this and that, or what is about Islam that you love?" Those type of questions that I get. We can talk about it, but I'm not gonna force anything. Christians, you can throw Christians in there too. You know what I'm
Ugh.
saying? Like
Christians
anybody.
is wild.
I'm not about to sit here and bend backwards to make you happy with my life. Simple. And that's across the board. I don't give a fuck who it is.
All right, let's do some final thoughts because we've been on here a good minute.
Ah, ah.
What?
Nothing. Final thoughts. Wrap it up then, nigga.
All right, so I think that debate was a hot mess.
I think the debate was funny.
It was very entertaining. It had a lot of entertainment value.
The little parts that we watched of it is funny. I think they were both doing a lot of talking in circles. Um, one, I just can't take a little bit. I can digest Trump a little bit more than I can digest Kamala. Just for the simple fact is, Trump's not pandering to black people. Like it could have been, if Trump was pandering to black people, I would have the same type of animosity towards him like I did with Hillary Clinton, talking about bitch got hot sauce in her purse, and Joe Biden when he said to Charlamagne the God, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. I would have the same animosity for that because I'm a black man with a vote. You know, I'm not a
Right.
felon. I don't have no criminal record. I don't have no outstanding nothing. I don't have no outstanding debt. I'm a I am a law-abiding individual citizen. Like you're not gonna put on a suit and then go to HBCU and then call
Right.
yourself a black woman. I'm sorry, that's not working for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it had a lot of entertainment value. Um, that's about it. And I will say, and I will take a little bit of responsibility for not being as educated on politics. Is I probably should be for it to mean more for me.
But Oscar, that's the point though. Like the average person isn't into politics. We are the average people. We think like the average person. We're not studying the book of policies. Like nigga, nobody reading that thick ass book of Project 25, 2025, whatever. Nobody read that. That's the whole book. Anybody that said they skimmed through it is a damn lie. I know they lying because it's thick as hell. It's as thick as a Bible. No, nobody's read that. Nobody's read the whole thing. I promise you they didn't. But we're average American citizens when it comes to politicians or the political views.
Right. Yeah. True. I agree with that. I don't know. I think it. I think the election will be very interesting. I'm curious to see how it goes, and curious to see how these next 4 years are. All I hope is that we don't get a dictator. That's it.
We damn near might need one. The way we've been acting in America,
Well, if we do get one, I hope they got our best interests in mind.
the way we've been acting in America, some heads need to start rolling if you ask me. But that's different. That's the whole other. That's
That's a whole nother
that's a
podcast.
whole other podcast. So you know what I'm saying. But yeah, same. Um, right now, I'm just sick of Kamala Harris and her pandering to black people. Um, I would rather have a more direct, more upfront leader of the free
Hmm.
world. Someone,
Hmm.
someone who can get some things under control. It seems like the Biden administration couldn't get anything under control. There's been two
Hmm.
wars under held under this administration since. Nothing has gotten better. The economy is worse. Living costs is almost impossible. Um, we need something new. I rather
Something different.
Yeah, I could deal with the racist folk more than I could deal with the cost of living being like this.
Like, give me a cheaper cost of living. I'll deal with the racism.
I could deal with the Trump supporters. And not all of them are racist, but I can deal with the people who are racist that everybody claims to say, "Oh, if you support Trump, you're racist." I could deal with those. Like,
Hmm.
I could deal with that issue. I could deal with that issue
Hmm.
because that's not really an issue. That's not realistically that's not really an issue because they probably are more afraid. You know what? Just let it go. I could deal with
You're
that issue.
funny.
I could deal with that issue for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I however it goes, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But I would like to say to our audience, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Send us money. That's cool too. Buy us stuff. That's also cool. Um, support. Just take a lot of effort.
As much as you can support, please, please. Y'all don't understand the things that we go through to get to
Well,
this.
and support's a lot of different ways, not just financially. Like having a friend watch, asking to come on, leaving a comment, asking us a question, bringing up a topic you want us to talk about. All of that. All that.
All of what he said and some to keep it all the way a being. So Yeah, make sure y'all like this video, subscribe if you made it this far. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see y'all on what's today? Tuesday. We'll see y'all on Thursday.
Thursday, baby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, how do I
We gotta
end
talk
this?
about the big three
Big three.
on Thursday. Did you end it already?
No. What we talking about on
So you just
Thursday?
waiting for me?
Yeah, say it.
Yeah,
Give me a sneak
you
peek.
was waiting for me to say something crazy.
No, I was waiting for you to say the big three.
The big three. Big me.
Kendrick Lamar.
I was talking about the Ice Cube thing in the
Oh yeah,
NBA.
yeah, 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 yeah. We'll come back to that for sure. We're gonna spin a block on that for sure. We got to highlight Unc. So yeah, we gonna for sure come back on that. We love y'all. Make sure y'all like this video, subscribe to the channel. We out.